Alright, and welcome to the, I believe, 6th episode of Horror 101 with Ryan Acidhedz Murphy. I use Acidhedz as my music production name, or my music producer name, I should say. I use that name for music production. It's an artist name, if you will. Yeah, whatever. Get on with it, right? Okay, so this one is about mystery. Suspense, thrills, and chills. Okay. A lot of the best horror movies and books and games involve a mystery. You're uncovering something. And that whole thing about the unknown comes into play. But also the known. Because what you're basically doing is feeding your player or viewer information, but you're doing it slowly, in the form of a mystery. They have to uncover what the hell is going on. Now, sometimes, like in the last video I mentioned the movie Darkness Falls, they tell you what is going on right at the beginning, which I think the movie would be way more effective if they didn't. If there, because the movie is based around this urban legend in this small town of Darkness Falls. I believe that's the name of the town. And it's still a pretty good scary movie, but if they would not have explained the whole damn thing right at the beginning and made that into a mystery that had to be uncovered, the truth behind it. You could have the urban legend that, there's this crazy ghost that haunts the town that is the Tooth Fairy and takes the last child's tooth that a child has, and if you open your eyes and see her, she'll kill you. If that was the only knowledge imparted at the beginning of the movie, and the characters in the movie had to uncover everything else, there was a mystery to it, like, why is this happening? Oh my god, this is really real. Why? That would be so much more effective than what they do, which is just telling you right at the beginning about the whole backstory and of the myth that it turns out to be true, of course. But even then, again, I still think it's a pretty good scary movie. It's like The Changeling is a pretty damn good haunted house movie. It's one of the classic haunted house movies. The Haunting, of course. These movies, there's a mystery involved, and you don't actually fully find out everything in most of those movies. Poltergeist, there's a bit of a mystery going on. They don't really explain everything to you. It's probably one of the reasons why my preference has always been for haunted house movies, or just ghost movies in general, is because they usually involve a mystery. Fragile is one I've watched recently that's pretty good. Below takes place on a submarine. Is a pretty good haunted place movie. It's a haunted submarine movie. Session 9 is pretty good. The Shining, there's not really a mystery involved. It's not really about, that's not where the scariness comes from. It's more about the degeneration of sanity there and just weirdness. So that one relies more on not revealing any information at all, combined with a very real threat of the husband with the axe, Torrance. So, there's different ways you can play it. Not every horror movie has to have a mystery involved. I'm not saying that, but I think a lot of the best ones do, at least on some level. And I think a lot of the really good ones are mystery movies that have been combined with horror elements to create really suspenseful movies. Thrillers basically do that, movies where they're trying to catch a serial killer or something. A proper thriller is a mystery. They're trying to catch somebody who's killing people, while at the same time there's the elements of horror, like people being murdered, and there's somebody very dangerous out there. That's kind of elements of horror, and combines to create thriller. So, a good mystery, I think, is something that adds a lot to the horror genre, especially games. Horror games benefit so much by having a mystery, having to uncover something, because one, it becomes part of the game, is uncovering the mystery. Sometimes this backfires, like with Outlast. I'll analyze that more in depth towards the end of these videos, but the mystery there has a very disappointing ending, I think. So, in that case, the mystery isn't a very effective tool. I've actually found, because I like to watch PewDiePie's playthrough videos. I don't really play games myself anymore because of various reasons, like arthritis in my hands. But I like watching his videos when I'm interested in a horror game, because I don't really want to play horror games. I want to make them, or be involved in writing the stories and stuff that go into making the games and movies and stuff. I don't really enjoy watching and playing and reading horror anymore. I'm more interested in creating it. So, I like watching PewDiePie's videos because I think he's amusing, and it allows me to be more objective about what I'm watching. With like Outlast, I don't need to get into the game. I can just he can be a distraction to keep me from getting into it and amuse me when it's a good time to be amused. And otherwise, I can just watch and see what I think they're doing right and what I think they're doing wrong, what they did that was effective and what kind of just broke it for me, and just analyze. And I think his way of going through the game was actually better. That's why I brought it up, is because he kind of just charged through the game without picking up all of the information and reading it, so he didn't really know what the hell was going on at any point, and neither did I, because that was how he was doing it. Which kind of made the game more effectively scary, because you don't really know anything that's happening. There's more of an unknown to it. Whereas they keep revealing all this information and kind of pulling down the curtains, revealing the wizard a little bit too much, too often. And then, there's a lot of that game that's just a big tease. I'm not a fan of the big tease type of thing. Twist endings have their place. Sorry about that. I was saying twist endings have their place, but if you don't do them right, they can be really irritating. What else can I talk about when it comes to mystery? What is an effective mystery, in my opinion? Well, again, we're with this one, we're kind of going back to when you're creating a horror game or movie or book, it's about controlling information. Mystery doesn't have to be like whodunit, who's the killer. Mystery can be more like background history. Yeah, so basically, what I mean by mystery, I think they're finally gone. So when I'm talking about mystery, I don't necessarily mean like Agatha Christie type whodunit type mystery. I just mean that there's information involved in the backstory, what's actually going on, the source of the horrible things, all of that sort of thing, and it's all information. And by mystery, I mean that you spoon feed it to your audience, be that, game, whatever, over a period of time, so they don't know what's happening until they've uncovered more of the puzzle. It adds a compulsion element to find out what is going on, which is what makes whodunits so popular, is because people want to know who done it. In this case, it's all about the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Those are the basic elements of all storytelling. Who is doing what to whom? Why are they doing it? How are they doing it? And where are they doing it? And of course, when. When was it done? What is it happening now? What happened in the past? All that sort of stuff. Sorry, I kind of spaced off there for just a moment. I was making sure I had gotten through all of them. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. It's all... That's the basic building blocks of any story. And the more of those things that you can keep to yourself as the creator of this piece of entertainment, the better off I feel you are. Because, again, it creates that desire in the audience to know more, so they're going to stick with it until they find out more. And it just adds more depth to it, as opposed to just running around trying to stay alive. Which is where a lot of slasher movies fall flat, to me. Because there's nothing to uncover. There's going back to that movie Darkness Falls, they took away all the mystery, the mystique, the suspense, at least about information. It's all about maintaining as much of the unknown and doubt as possible. If you doubt what's actually happening and you don't understand what's happening, that is good territory to be in when you're trying to make people scared from playing a game or watching a movie or reading your story. It's all about controlling your information. And by doing it, using mystery, it's all about spoon-feeding the information to them in a particular order, so that they find out things that will both enhance the horror whenever possible by being something messed up, but also enhancing their curiosity. Because if there is one thing that will override common sense, it's curiosity. Really only, I suppose lust is a type of curiosity in a way. That's a stretch. I suppose you could be curious about somebody and that leads to lust. But yeah, really, if there's any two things that could definitely be considered to be the great corruptors of common sense, it's lust and curiosity. Greed, of course. So yeah, again, those are emotions you can play on as well. Greed, curiosity, lust, all that sort of stuff. That's not really it doesn't really tie into mystery, but I hadn't really thought of that until just now, so that's why I'm bringing it up. That, of course, emotions are always great to play on. But when you're wanting your character to do something they normally wouldn't do, like when somebody's playing a game or a character in a movie or in a story, if you can play upon emotions and desires that have a tendency to override common sense, that's a good place to be in because it helps make it more believable. If somebody has just been hacked to death, most people are not going to be curious enough to go investigate. But if you can come up with reasons for them to be curious, they might go investigate. Which is why police officers, cops, detectives are often the protagonists, the main characters of horror, because they have to go investigate. It isn't, there is no compulsion for them, it's their job to do it. And thrillers, obviously. Whereas in a lot of horror, the people who make it don't consider those emotions. They just kind of bypass it and go straight to, you have no choice. Which is fine. there's a lot of, territory to explore in forcing a character or a player of a game to do things they don't want to do. That's a ripe area to explore, of course. But if you can get them to want to do it, even though they don't want to do it, if you can cause that cognitive dissonance in a person's head, that will lead to even more unease and discomfort, which is something you can exploit. Again, it's all about how you use your information. If you can get them curious about the crazy old house, even though they don't really want to go exploring the crazy old house, they just want to get out. If you can make them curious enough about what happened there to go exploring and override the fear of exploring, then you have them in your hand. You're controlling them, and horror is really about controlling your audience in a lot of ways. Pardon me. So, yeah, just to recap on what mystery is when it comes to horror, it's controlling the information that you give to your audience. Generally, giving it to them in a very particular order in order to keep their interest up, their curiosity going, and also, of course, to freak them out when possible by giving them details of horrible things. But the goal of the mystery is to try and propel them forward while revealing the story to them in chunks, little bits and pieces. So that's what mystery really is controlling how you tell the story and the pacing of how you tell the backstory, really. Because that's what a mystery is. It's really two stories that's being told simultaneously. It's a backstory and a current story. And the mystery is the person investigating or persons investigating. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to get something to drink after this one. Okay. That it's the people or a person investigating the mystery, because the mystery is about the backstory. If you the easy way to write a mystery is you write the backstory first. You write that whole story, and then you write the actual mystery story. And you use what you've written about the back history, and you kind of, again, it's the same thing. You spoon feed it to your investigators through the course of your mystery novel or just story. And and then you fill in the gaps between when they're uncovering information with some adventure and action and horror elements, if you want to incorporate horror, or just do a straight up horror mystery type of thing. That's what mystery is. It's all about, finding out, there's a story that's already taken place in the past, and the mystery comes from uncovering that story. Okay? So that's, and also, as I've said several times now, I know I tend to repeat myself, I'm sorry about that, but it's all about controlling how you reveal the information over time. And that's mystery. So let me go ahead and do my end of YouTube video things. Please give me that upvote for the video. That's always appreciated. Leave a comment or question if you have any. And if you have any other topics you'd like me to cover, I will do my best to do so. But it will be after Halloween. If you watch this before Halloween of 2014, obviously you could watch this around Halloween time in years to come. But whenever you come up with a topic you'd like me to cover, I will do my best to cover it. Try and keep negativity to yourself. This is supposed to be for entertainment, fun, and education. So, there's no place for that here, really. I don't want it on my videos. I will just ignore you. And I encourage those of you watching to ignore people being negative as well on all videos. Unless they're giving honest critique of something. If you have something that you would like to discuss and because you disagree with me, that's not being negative. Having a disagreement is not being negative. I mean just being an asshole. And, of course, that brings me to trolls. If you try to troll me, I'm going to give you my warning now. I will be just as nasty or even nastier to you right back. And I have no problem with doing that because I don't like trolls, so try me at your own risk. I don't like people like you fucking up my comments sections. And on a more positive note, go ahead and subscribe to my video channel if you haven't already, because it's the only way you'll know when I upload new stuff. And I think that covers everything. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.